Good afternoon. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Economic Development and Reg Services Committee for today, which is November 12th. I have been joined by council members Cano, Fletcher, and Gordon, which is a quorum of the committee. We have a fairly brief agenda today. I will first address the consent agenda. Item 4 are the liquor license approvals, and 5 are the renewals. 6 are the gambling license renewals. Item 7 is a license settlement conference recommendation at El Nuevo Rodeo. Item number 8 is a contract amendment for cost sharing with the county on the MFIP program for employment and training services. And 9 and 10 are 2 items that are being set for public hearing on December 3rd, one on tenant relocation assistance and the other on emergency housing repairs. Are there any items anyone would like to discuss or pull from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll move the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. And then we have 3 public hearings and 2 public hearings and 1 really large public hearing. So we'll go ahead and start with item number 1, which is the public hearing on the North Loop Gallery. Mr. Cervantes, welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Max Cervantes, and I'm a licensed inspector assigned to the 1st Precinct. I'm presenting an application from North Loop Galley, owned by North Loop Galley LLC. The business address is 729 Washington Avenue North, Suite 102, which is located in Ward 3. The applicant is requesting an on-sale liquor with Sunday sales and limited entertainment license. North Loop Galley intends to offer entertainment in the form of amplified and non-amplified musicians, electronically produced music, TV, and radio. The proposed hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. daily for the interior and exterior. North Loop Galley will have indoor seating for 199 and outdoor seating for 74 on a private patio. On October 22nd, 94 public hearing notices were sent to residents and property owners within 450 feet of the premises. Multi-unit buildings were posted. Notices were also sent to North Loop Neighborhood Association, the Warehouse District Business Association, and Councilmember Fletcher. We have received no comments from the community. The Licenses and Consumer Services Division recommends approval of an on-sale liquor with Sunday sales, limited entertainment license for North Loop Galley. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Cervantes on item number 1? Seeing none, well, thank you for your report. We'll open up the public hearing on item number 1. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Chad Ellingbo. My home address, 915 Penn Avenue, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm the Vice President of Operations for Galley Group, and I'm overseeing the opening of North Loop Galley.
Fantastic. You want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you for having us today, of course. And we operate the space and work with our 4 partners to operate the food and bar portion. All of the bar sales go directly to Galley Group, but then we partner with the 4 local chefs on the food portion of the service. We provide the managerial staff and service staff for the space, and we have certified food managers who inspect and oversee the food safety standards of the kitchens as well in partnership with the chefs. We employ a third-party service as well to provide inspections on top of the regular scheduled health inspections. Very casual, local neighborhood spot. We offer, like the inspector said, some, amplified music for special events, otherwise normal day-to-day restaurant-style music. Some, great happy hour specials, local, as locally focused as we can be to really tie into the neighborhood as kind of our goal.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here today.
Yes, of course.
Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, thank you. You can sit down. We'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Fletcher.
Thank you, Chair Goodman. This sounds like a really interesting concept. I'm happy to move approval.
Approval of item number 1 has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to item number 2. Mr. Curtis, hiding in the back there. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. What you have before you is a request for preliminary and final approval of up to $9 million in 501c3 tax-exempt revenue bonds for educational properties. Educational properties will in turn lease this facility to the Northeast College Prep Charter School. The location is 300 Industrial Boulevard Northeast. The school itself is K through 8 and has about 375 students, 85% students of color, 90% of the students qualify for free or reduced lunch programs, and about 75% of the students live in the city of Minneapolis. The representatives here, should you have any questions?
Are there any questions for Mr. Curtis on this item? Thank you for your report. This is a public hearing on item number 2, which is preliminary and final approval for up to $9 million in 501c3 tax-exempt revenue bonds for educational properties to benefit Northeast College Prep Charter School. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Are you here? No one wants to say anything? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Gordon.
Move approval, Madam Chair.
Item number 2 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll then move on to our last remaining item, which is a number of resolutions directing the Director of Hennepin County Property Tax Department to place assessments against certain properties to defray the cost of abating nuisance conditions. There are a number of various unpaid fines, and I think our very well-intentioned and knowledgeable staff will tell us exactly what's going on, so you don't have to read through, it looks like to be maybe 12 different categories.
There's about 15 resolutions. I think it's 81 pages long. But good afternoon, Chair Goodman and committee members. I'm Nick Magrino from Regulatory Services. I'm here to present the 2019 assessment levy for unpaid inspections-related fees and fines. Before I get started, I'll say that we do have staff set up in 321 with a computer. If there's anyone here who has any specific questions about individual assessments that are on the roll. The total as of this morning is about $2.4 million across a number of different categories. We have assessments from community planning and economic development, from the health department, from regulatory services, and from public works included in the levy. It includes things like unpaid administrative citations for code violations, costs for nuisance abatement, so like if we go out and cut down a tree or mow somebody's lawn, as well as vacant building registration fees and a few other categories. There's also included in this particular RCA assessments for Tenant Remedy Act fines, and so that's when, in certain cases, if we have a court-appointed administrator, we can do repairs and then put the cost of the repairs onto the property taxes, and those are not appealable, but they are part of the RCA. So in all cases, for each of the individual fines on the roll, we did send a notice of intent to assess letter to either a property owner, homesteader, or rental property contact, giving them the ability to appeal that to an administrative hearing officer. And it either was appealed and was upheld by the hearing officer, or wasn't appealed and is still unpaid. And so we bring it before you to approve the final levy. People do have until the 22nd of November to make a prepayment. And if it's not paid by then, it'll go on their taxes that'll be payable in 2020. So I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Magrino? So the fact that we don't have every seat filled, given the number of assessment notices that we sent out, says you are doing your job very well.
Hopefully.
And there's a few people who are here to speak, and we'll give them an opportunity to do so, and then direct staff to work with them if it makes sense to do that.
Yeah, sure thing.
Great. Mr. Fussy, do you want me to read all these items out loud, 1 through 15, or do I need to do that?
Madam Chair, I think I would say to protect the record, it'd probably be a good idea to at least summarize the title of each.
Maybe Mr. Magrino could do that.
He could certainly do that.
Is that okay?
Sure.
No, do you want me to do it?
I can. I typed them up. Yeah. So I can just
Just
describe.
like one sentence on each of what
Sure.
they are.
So the first resolution relates to nuisance abatement, and in that there are a few different levy numbers that correspond to different payment periods. So if there are, for example, a 5-year or 10-year payment period for cutting down a tree, there's different levy codes for that. The second involves unpaid administrative citations for housing inspections. The next involves unpaid administrative citations for lead hazard control in the health department. The next involves the cost of building demolition. The next involves the cost of registering vacant properties, so the vacant building registration. The next involves reinspection fees for housing and fire inspections. The next involves the cost of boarding buildings. The next involves the cost of unpaid administrative citations for combined sewer overflow and rain leader disconnect. That's a program in the Public Works Department. The next involves unpaid administrative citations issued by construction code services. The next involves a different type of administrative citation issued by construction code services that when those are unpaid. The next involves unpaid fire inspections administrative citations. The next involves another type of building demolition. The next involves zoning enforcement and CPED and their unpaid administrative citations. And the last involves reinspection fees from zoning enforcement and CPED.
Thank you, Mr. Magrino. You
Thanks.
did that far better than I could ever do so. Thank you for your report. Are there any questions for Mr. Magrino? Thank you. We'll open the public hearing on item 3, which is the 2019 levy for special assessments relating to nuisance conditions, unpaid administrative enforcement fees and fines, and the Tenant Remedy Act. I have one person signed up to speak. There might be more than one in the room who would like to speak. If you'd like to speak, this is the public hearing. Please step forward and state your name and address for the record. Hello.
Hello, Madam Chair, City Council members. Excuse my voice. I kind of lost it. I worked 12 hours on Sunday serving free meals to veterans. So I was sent initially an order of notice to correct for my lawn being too long. And I was out of the country for nearly a month. I probably should have mowed it before I left, but I figured going into September it was going to be starting to die. But I was just working 2 jobs, 70, 80 hours a week, and didn't mow it. I was out of the country, and then it was mowed while I was gone, and they did intent to assess. And I didn't open that letter until the day after the appeals could be put forward. I was given a number of a woman named Katie. I called her, left a message, never got back to me. And so I've kept my house. I've lived in my house, 2439 Logan Avenue North, for 3 years. I've kept it in good standing. I have a corner lot where I have 300 feet of sidewalk to shovel each day. When it snows, I shovel it, I salt it. I usually mow my lawn, and so I'm here to basically appeal.
Okay, but they did have to mow your lawn, right?
Yes, but $360 is an absurd number to be charged for that. It was just the front corner of my lawn's the only part that grows. The rest is weeds that are short. So it'd be 10 minutes of weed whipping. And that's nearly as much as I paid for my variance and permit to build the garage on my property that I built with my hands. $360 is an absurd number for 10 minutes of work.
So it sounds like there's someone here who can talk to this young man about this, correct? Because we don't really have the power to waive any fees anyway, so.
But why, if I was given a number of somebody to call that can appeal?
Yep, we're going to help you talk to someone right now.
Sure.
Is that correct, Mr. Cervantes? Mr. Magrino?
We have staff in the room that's right next door, and we can, kind of run through the process.
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you for being here and for testifying, and hopefully we can work something out with you. Right? Okay. Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue? You're not here for this. I'm just watching. Oh, fun. Anyone else in the room would like to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and I will move approval of the staff recommendation. Mr. Magrino, is someone's going to help talk to this young man about his issue, correct? And they have power to determine what happens next. And should they make a determination that's different than what we ordered, would that be in the updated for the committee of the whole agenda? Please, sir.
Chair Goodman and committee members. Yeah, we have the ability to make administrative adjustments to the levy up until we send it to Hennepin County. So if we find, for example, we didn't give proper notice, or if we decide to waive an administrative fee, it would be on the updated roll that's sent to Hennepin County.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to do anything in terms of approving the staff recommendation here today, even if they negotiate with something with this young man?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Then I'll go ahead and move the staff recommendation on item number 3. Any comments or questions about item number 3? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. Seeing no further business before us. Is that correct, Irene? I think it is. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Thank you for your time.